Hello, dreamers. Perla here. As always, thank you for your love and support. Thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing to the channel. And if you haven't done so, go ahead and do so. We would love to have you. So let's jump right in. Aries, Taurus, Cusp. There is a foundation that is being broken down. Now, the energy in itself, is this energy of like a tower moment, this energy of destruction. And for a lot of you, you're having a hard time understanding why something is no longer working. Now, for some of you, this energy is going to present itself with a dialogue or a perception that you had of yourself. Maybe you saw yourself as a certain type, or you saw yourself as, as being the provider, as being the caretaker, etc. And there's a shift that is happening where maybe now you're starting to see it's almost kind of like any limitations that you had set for yourself are being broken down. So this tower moment is not necessarily something bad. Of course, if this involves another person, like you're having a tower moment with a significant other or with work or whatever it is, there's always a grieving space, right, as to the people that we walk away or the situations that we tend to walk away from when there is a tower moment. But in all, to be honest with you, this tower moment seems to be working in your favor, something that is very beneficial to you. So if this is in regards to like a relationship, it's like finally seeing someone's for their true colors, finally seeing something within a connection, right? If this is walking away from a job, it's like finally seeing how toxic for you specifically, excuse me, a certain environment was. So this is not necessarily something bad, even though when we hear tower moments, we want to like, go hide under the bed. The tower moments are nothing more than the destruction of an old environment, an old energetic field that you're no longer like in alignment with. And in order for you to create or to build within the new frequency, within the new space that you are aligned to, the old has to be swept out, the old has to be done and over with. All right, so I really want you during this time to look at this tower moment that is happening in your life as something that is happening for you and not to you. This is to help you have a solid foundation on what it is that you're going to build, right? So if you're what, like, let's say if you're talking to somebody and you're going to start like a new relationship or something of that matter, the old that is being broken down is the dialogue that you have with yourself when it comes to relationship, right? So we're not dragging that into the new. And this is kind of like the way that I want you to look at things when I'm talking about energy, right? Because sometimes we word things and yeah, maybe like, some people do it for clickbait or whatever it is, but it has to be more of like an understanding of the energetic field itself and how it is that it's presenting itself, because an energy comes through no matter what. And some people may choose to look or take an energy that is normally seen as negative and transform it into something beautiful, something beneficial to them. And that's what you're being asked to do during this time with this tower moment. Like, whatever is being broken down, whatever it is that is ending in your life, allow it to end completely without restricting yourself from it, and without holding trying to hold an energy hostage. So we have the magic guardian as your closing message. Unlock the magic within. What is this magic within that you're being asked to unlock? Is this energy within you, where again you can take anything, any energy or anything like that, and transmute that energy into something that is going to be beneficial for you, right? A while back I had talked about, like, if you look at the sensation that your body shows you when you are feeling like fear and excitement, the sensation that you're feeling in the body is the same, right? There is a certain like signatures, a certain frequencies, and it's really more about what it is that you choose to do with that sensation, right? Or how you choose to perceive that sensation when it shows up in your body. So there's something about that space that you're being asked to pay a little closer attention to this week, and really allow yourself to get in tune with the frequency that you're currently in, and so that you are able to allow yourself to release the old, that tower moment that has been broken down. You need to allow yourself to completely release it, and only by like getting in tune with yourself and staying grounded in that space are you able to do that. Taurus, Gemini. Taurus, Gemini, some of you are seem to be stuck looking at the past. um are like, if you look at it from a perspective, like when you're driving, you're looking at your rearview mirror on occasions, right? Especially like if you're going to merge here, you're going to merge there or whatever, but you're not just staring at it the entire time you're driving. When you're driving, you're looking forward, right? So I want you to start looking at your life in that way, looking forward, looking at to what is ahead. And if you happen to glance, right, at the past, at that back rear view mirror, is only from seeing, like looking at something, a lesson that you have learned or something like that, like as a cautionary precaution, right? So like if you are going to start dating, if you are going to get a new job, if you're going to start working out, and we're glancing at the past, okay, why didn't this work out in the past? You're glancing at what the lessons were that you learned within that space, not necessarily staying super focused on them. Because again, some of you tend to have like little glances that just kind of surface whenever you're going to do something new, or you're thinking of doing something new. It's like you have a memory from the past and you get stuck in these loops where you think that you have to dissect something completely, and it's like, no, hey, just remember there was a quick lesson within this space, right? Maybe there was a space where you didn't really show up, excuse me, that you really didn't show up as yourself 100%. Maybe there was a space where you didn't really speak out, whatever it was. Like get a quick look, right, at what that lesson was, and keep moving forward. Stop getting stuck in the past is what I'm picking, because it is very easy for you guys to get stuck in that pattern of just like this energy can become, let's put it this way, very destructive, because you start to blame yourself, you start to um criticize yourself and demonize yourself in a way that is non-productive and it's not healthy. So you need to move away from that energy. Let's focus, like let's regaze our eyesight, let's regaze our focus on the future, because that is where you're headed, in a sense. Okay, let's go ahead and let's get a closing message for Taurus, Gemini, Cusp. The White Witch. Be the light. Be the light, right? When we talk about, like, when we see people living like their authentic self, when we see people making an impact or whatever, we sometimes want to run into a space like, oh, I wonder how I could be like that. I wonder how can I achieve that. I wonder how I can. And it's very simple, by just being yourself. Being yourself, what does that mean? That means that you are accepting and acknowledging of the past, the experiences that you have experienced, and how they have helped you shape the person that you are today. That is about choosing, again, when we're looking at the past, looking at it from just a way of learning, a way of learning, a way of sitting in gratitude for the lessons that you learned, a way of sitting in gratitude that you have outgrown that space, that you are now in another space, and not necessarily being stuck into that space, right? When we allow ourselves to be who we are unapologetically, regardless of whatever our past looks like, then we get to be the light. We get to be the light not just in our own lives, but also in the lives of others, also in the lives of people that we are connecting to. And you have to start seeing yourself as the light. You have to start seeing yourself as that person that you're growing into, right? And one of the biggest things, one of the biggest dishonor that you can do to yourself is comparing yourself to someone else. Stop comparing where you are and who you are to someone else. That needs to stop. Gemini, Cancer, Cusp, there is, and again, I don't understand why you guys, and I feel, and I'm not gonna, like, this is no hate or anything, but it's, I think this is coming more from like that energy, that Gemini aspect of yourself, that you tend to attract certain types of people. Um, there is an energy here again that seems very gossipy, seems very combative, seems very much like an attack type of energy. So this week, as you're going about your week, be aware of how it is that this energy is presenting itself, because it very much feels like this energy is circling you. It's like circling you, circling you. So this is an energy that's going to appear at work, it's going to appear in your home life, it's going to appear with, with friends, it's going to appear with relationship. Anywhere that you allow this combative energy to come in, it's going to come in, and then it feels like it wants to spread everywhere. So you're being told to recognize this energy before it comes and address it. Now, how is it that you're going to address it is going to be different from all for all of you, right? Maybe this is an energy that wants acceptance in some part of yourself. It's an energy that needs to be reflected, right? Maybe this is an energy that for you is going to require you to do some grounding before you get out of bed. It's going to require you to do some type of grounding before you step out. Maybe this is an energy that is requiring you to look at the spaces in your life that you have allowed yourself to bleed out, like that you've allowed your energy to bleed out. Maybe this is an, like, again, this energy of combativeness, this energy of like attack, this energy of bitchiness, like this. I really do not like this energy, to be honest with you, in the sense of how destructive it can be, right? But when an energy, like when I start to sense an energy like this personally in my life, I allow it to show up raw how it is, and then I'll allow it to show me what it is that it wants to teach me, or what it is that it's trying to bring my attention to, right? And a lot of the times when this energy surface like that, and again, we're talking about my own personal experience at this moment, it is usually a space where I may become ungrounded, right? So it is like I'll feel that energy surrounding, like the outskirts of my energy field, and I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna go into the space, or I'm gonna do this. I need to make sure that I'm very grounded within that space, right? And and it can be something very subtle, right? It can be me not clearing up a space after or before working, right? It can be me jumping out of bed knowing that I didn't rest enough, right? So if I know that I didn't get enough rest, I know that I'm not grounded enough. It's kind of like that type of energy that it is trying to bring your attention and your awareness to, right? So that you're not dealing with these energies on when you are communicating with people. But for those of you that are having a hard time in tuning into this energy, it is going to be manifested in a way of like a combated or even feeling attacked this week by others, when in reality the only thing that is happening here is an inner voice that is trying to get your attention to really pay attention. So as your closing message, we have the seer. It is time for you to see beyond the current situation, right? So the cattiness, the bitchiness that may happen at work, the arguments that you may be having with your significant other, the this, the that, it is all stemming from an irregular frequency system calibration, whatever the heck the words that wants to come out within yourself, that you need this. Like we go to sleep every day, and there's something that happens, when you're in dream. And in my personal opinion, we're traveling, like our conscious is expanding into different dimensions, different realities, right? So when I come back to this reality specifically, I need to be grounded. That looks like different every single day, but one thing that remains is every time I open my eyes, or even when I'm consciously awake and my eyes are still closed, I breathe. I breathe. I take 3 to 5 deep inhale and exhale to allow myself to land back into my body fully, to allow myself to get grounded into my body fully before I wake up and do whatever it is the day is asking me for, right? And again, some days are going to require more grounding than others. On days when I'm doing these types of reading, my ritual, my grounding practice is different than on days that I'm not reading. On days that I'm doing private client readings, again, my grounding looks different than what it does on days that I'm not. And that's kind of like the way that you have to start looking at life and looking at things. Okay. Cancer, Leo, Cusp. Cancer, Leo, Cusp, you are, a lot of you are choosing to consciously or choosing to actively go into some type of shadow work. There's something in your life that seems to get stuck in a very in like at a very specific, in a very specific way, or very specific space. And the last couple of weeks you have been having like either flashes or memory of something that needs to be addressed. This energy of whatever needs to be addressed is coming in some type of and again, guys, these are collective readings, so if it's not for you, then maybe wait till next week. This energy is coming in as like a maternal betrayal, meaning an energy of a maternal figure that betrayed you in some way, shape, or form. And there was an imprint that was made as a child, based on a betrayal by this person, that spirit is asking you to address. So a lot of people fear going into like doing, like, shadow work, and maybe because of the heaviness of it, of what it sounds like, when in reality it doesn't always have to be, right? This space in itself can be something very simple, but the energy itself, the imprint that it made in your nervous system at a certain age, needs to be addressed. It needs to be, like, that energy needs to be reparent in some type of way. And there's many different ways to do it. There's a lot of people out there that have different resources, and for everybody it's going to be different. So there is like this there is this space that you are intentionally going in to address, right? So What is an example that I can use of something that is not that was traumatic but that really wasn't, if that makes sense. When I was, and I don't remember how old I was, I must have been like 5 or 6 years old. And I've said the story many times before. We lived in an apartment building, we lived in the third floor. The fire alarm system was changed, and when it was changed and tested, my I was home with my older siblings. My parents were not home. I don't know. I think they went out to run errands. They went to the supermarket or something. And the gap between myself and my oldest sister is 8 years, 8.5, almost 9 years. So she was watching us, and I remember. I don't know if I do not remember the specifics about it. I just remember being in so much fear from the alarm sounding and reaching and wanting to reach for my mom right away, and she was nowhere to be found. And for the longest time, like, I would remember the events, but I really wouldn't remember much of it until a few years ago. This event came up again, and I'm like, okay, like, my mother wasn't at fault at this, right? So why is it that I keep looking for my mother when I'm in this space? Like, there was a fear that was imprinted in me at that time, that I had been abandoned by my mother, that my mother wasn't there to soothe the initial fear that came from hearing that alarm, right? So it wasn't necessarily something traumatic that was done to me. It was the way that my nervous system reacted to that one single event, right? And I honestly, I think I might have been napping or something when this fire alarm went off, and that's why I was looking for my mom. um but again, I had to go into that space and reparent, right? But in order to reparent that space, I needed to acknowledge that had how that one single event had certain consequences. And that's kind of like what I'm looking here. So again, when we talk about dealing with our shadows and going into that space of healing these spaces or reparenting these spaces, they don't have to be something extreme or dramatic. So let's go ahead and let's get a closing message for Cancer Leo. Again, you're consciously going into the space to heal this. You're there. I don't see any fear or anything like that. I do feel that whatever blockages this was creating for you are going to be lifted. Trust your talents in changing time. The Spirit Fox, and I feel that that's exactly what you guys are doing during this time. You're trusting yourself. You're trusting your intuition. You're trusting that it's right now is the right time, the right moment to finally heal whatever this energy is for you. Leo, Virgo, Cusp, you you're using certain things this week to distract you, or you're trying to keep yourself distracted from an ending that you know that needs to occur. Now, what is this ending is going to look very different for many of you. This may be an ending within a connection. This may be an ending within your own self-sabotaging energy that you seem to exhibit a lot during this time of the year. So during the holidays or during like the end of the year or whatever, this self-sabotaging energy seems to surface where you're either like, the dialogue that you're using with yourself is not the healthiest. Whether this is because you didn't meet all the goals or you didn't do all the things that you set out to do at the beginning of the year. um, for others of you, is like you you allow yourself to overcommit to certain things, and then you're just kind of like upset. So like, even though you know that you wanted to use your vacation or whatever to rest, you committed to the sound that you hear in the back is my dog trying to get comfortable in the bed. Anyways, you overcommitted yourself to certain situations or certain things, and now you're paying the price, is what I'm picking up. So again, you know that this energy needs to be addressed. You know that you need to address this energy that surfaces or comes up for you as a self-sabotaging energy, right? So anytime that you're not honoring yourself, anytime that you're not listening to yourself, anytime that you're overexerting yourself to please other, anytime that you fall into the space of the nice complex, you are self-sabotaging. And a lot of you know that there has to be an end to this energy. And this week, instead of distracting yourself or continuously over committing yourself to even more situations, let's address this. Where did this energy originate? And I know that I'm going to get a lot of people tired by saying that, but the focus of the readings for me personally, the intentions that I set, is to help everybody evolve, to help everybody get to a point where um you are in tune with yourself enough that you can hear the direct guidance from spirit, right? Where you can ground yourself enough to see the realities of situations, right? Where you start to trust and listen to your intuition. So during this time, let's pay attention to that energy. Where did it originate for you? All right, so let's go ahead and let's pull out an oracle card as your closing message. These messages seem to be very like direct this week. The moon, take note of what? Intuitive messages. Don't, during this time as this energy, because again, this is an energy that keeps on coming up for you around like the same time every year, where you begin to almost like self-sacrifice to either help others or to be there for others. Like you don't want to be this mean person. That's like wax from one of the candles, guys. But intuitively, you know that this energy needs to be addressed. Intuitively, you know that you need to stop this self-sabotaging energy. So let's go ahead and do so, my love. Virgo, Libra, Cusp. Sorry, I know I'm making a little extra noise. I just want to make sure because sometimes these microphones die and I don't even realize it. All right. So Virgo, Libra, Cusp. You seem to be stuck in the middle of two people, or two ideas or two something. The energy is this very much like stuck in the middle, like you're sandwiched between two. Whether it is two people that you are entertaining, whether it is like two jobs, whether it is like two outfits you're trying to, I don't know, there is this energy of like being stuck in between two and not having a clear direction as which of the two to choose. For some of you, this energy that is exhibiting this space for you is having to make a decision to walk away from a situation. For those of you that I'm saying that this does have to do with love, this does have to do with a romantic partner. There is a situation, a situationship, because it is not a relationship, regardless of how you want to color it. There is a situationship that you allowed yourself to get into, and you have a lot of feelings for this person. And from time to time, it seems like this person has a lot of feelings for you as well, but this person is unwilling to make a commitment. And your spirit is no longer comfortable with the going with the flow that like a person wants to happen, because again, you, when you met this person, when you set out to engage or connect with this person, you were clear from the beginning as to what it was that you were looking for. But at some point within the connection, the lines got blurred, and you allow certain behavior, certain things to happen without a clear, without clarity, I should say, in the direction where this was headed. And now you find yourself in a situationship when you really wanted a relationship. And now you're stuck as to like, do I address this and see if they'll change your mind, or do I walk away from it? When you, my love, already know the answer. If they haven't made something official with you, if they are in a, I just want to F, I just want to, we're vibing, as what some people like to say. We're just hanging out, we'll just see where it goes. And you know that your spirit is not there, then stop settling for that and walk away. The winter, take care of your needs, is your closing message. So again, this energy of like being stuck in between the two is this energy of like needing to make a decision whether to walk away from something that you know is not going to grow. Like it's at capacity. What this person is offering is all that they can offer at this moment in time. Or are you going to stay or walk away? Like what are you going to do? And the main thing that you should be focusing is taking care of yourself, taking care of your needs is what I should say. Libra, Scorpio, Cusp. Libra, Scorpio's cusp, you're having either a deja vu or some type of memory. There's something that is coming back around. You had some you had some amnesia in regards to someone in your life. Um or in regards to like the reality of someone in your life, let's put it this way. Why is this energy coming in like this? Because I feel like somebody is circling around, somebody's coming back around, and initially you are almost kind of like even excited or receiving of this person, and it's like right away spirit is like, hey, you're having amnesia, remember what this person put you through. Remember the lessons that you had to learn when you were engaging with this person in this specific way. Um, and again, some of you are coming from a place of healed within a space, right? Like if this is an ex or a family member, whatever, somebody that really hurt you or whatever, they're coming back around and you're just like, you know what, I forgave them. You may be in a new relationship already. You've moved on for this. So yeah, you're excited to see how they're doing. You're excited to see how their life has progressed. But you're being reminded during this time that the forgiveness again was for you, not for them. and this person is not coming in with a different agenda. This person is coming in with the same agenda that they did 2, 3, 5 years ago into your life. They're coming in to see how much accessibility they have to your life. They're coming in to see what they can come and disturb, what they can come and get from you. So be very aware of that. And I feel that this is why you're being asked, hey, don't get amnesia when it comes to this person. Don't forget what this person, how this person truly shows up, and how this person can be manipulated, right? How like who this person truly is. And I'll share an example. I have somebody that I am connected to, and this person has a flaw that my spirit doesn't sit well with. Right, this person tends to make up a lot of fibbing. They lie a lot, and it's not for any specific reason. It's not that their life is in danger or anything like that. This is just there's trauma within that space that needs to be healed, and lying is like a defense mechanism, right? And and for a very long time, me and this person I had a very strict boundary when it came to my connecting with this person, where I allowed this person to show up in my life. And recently this person has been getting closer to me in a sense, but spirit is always like, hey, we remember this, like remember this. And the way that this person and I are now communicating is in a different dynamic, right? But there is always this, because until this day I still catch this person in like what people like to call little white lies, right? So again, there is a choice that I made, right? Because again, the dynamic of the connection that I have with this person is different at this moment in time. But it's almost kind of like I have to always be aware that at their core, until that specific thing is addressed, I only go by like 10% of what this person says, right? Only 10% of what this person says can they actually be held accountable for, in the sense of like my choosing, right? My choosing to believe type of thing. So really look at this energy in that aspect as it is showing up for you, Libra Scorpio. Like what how is it like, if you are choosing to reconnect with somebody from your past, please do not lie to yourself about how they really showed up in the past and who they really are. So let's get a closing message for Libra Scorpio. And I don't need all those cards, I'm sorry. Some of you are questioning, like, well, if I am still holding to that idea of them, am I really healed? And the thing is that it's not about you holding to that idea of them. It is that this person is still exhibiting this energy in this space. They haven't done the work that is required for them to outgrow that energy. So if you're choosing to connect, do not be surprised when the old habits resurface. So let's put it that way. So we have the Sage. It did come out and then it came out again because I wasn't really sure because of how it felt. Be devoted and committed. The Sage. You're needing to be devoted and committed to your path, to your journey, and you need to stay committed and devoted to the faith, right, or the truth, or whatever you want to call it, that you have in spirit and in the guidance that is given to you. Scorpio, Sagittarius, Cusp. Scorpio, Sagittarius, Cusp. There are things that there is an uncluttering, let's put it this way, that is happening in your life. And this is, you know how like during like the change of seasons and things like that, people clean, like deep clean and declutter their house and things like that. This is what is happening. But for a lot of you guys, this is Scorpio Sag is happening internally. This is like you're cleaning house, you're you're allowing yourself to actively and consciously release anything that is not serving you, anything that, excuse me, anything that you feel has been holding you back. And I like this because you're not the way that you're coming at these energies as they're surfacing, you're coming from a non-judgmental aspect of it, and instead you're allowing the energy to show up raw as it is, and allowing yourself to integrate it in a way that is beneficial to you. Does that make sense? So, like, if you might be reading like old journals and you're like, oh, shoot, like I really went through that. I really allowed this person to treat me like that. I really allowed that person to do this. I really didn't show up for myself. And you're just taking it all in, but there's no judgment, there's no anything. It's just kind of like you're watching a movie of your past experiences play out in order to like finally release anything that was holding anything back, right? um so there's definitely this sense of cleansing, this sense of uncluttering yourself from within. For some of you, this is going to require some type of like spiritual bath. um and again, you can get a bath from someone, or you can make it yourself. I always say, I make everything myself, but I also make them for other people. But what I'm trying to say is like there is a sense here of like needing to like really listen. Like I wouldn't personally, if I was you, I wouldn't go and just buy like a generic bath from anybody. When I make a bath for myself or I'm making it for someone, it is very intentional as to what it is that that person needs at that moment in time and what the intention is behind the bath. So do with that information whatever you may. Um, Personally, I only offer bath to people that are locally to me, just because of the because that is how I am offering them at this moment in time. But there is this again, and I talked about this in another video. When you're making a bath, make sure that you're cleansing yourself physically, but also internally. So the bath should be a combination of drinking a tea or like a mixture, taking a bath, and also cleansing your space, your house, your environment that you frequent. So it is a three combo. It is something that I am, I am is in the process of in the works to see how I can offer it to the collective. Um, so that they're able to do it, so that it is not something that is needed. Like it's not something that you're going to be cleaning yourself or cleansing your house like every 3 weeks or something like that, but you want something more permanent, if that makes sense. We have as your closing message the direction guardian: choose your path. This whole cleansing, this whole uncluttering that you guys are doing during this time is so that you can start walking in your purpose, so that you can start, so you can have that, so you can finally have that fresh start that you've been walking towards, or you've been wanting for a very long time. And again, there have been things from your past that have been interfering with progress within that space. Sagittarius, Capricorns, you're cleaning house. And what I mean by cleaning house is not just physically your house. You're cleaning house as to you are kicking people out of your life. You're going about like this, like here's your eviction, here's your eviction notice. You are evicting people out of your life, um, left and right. You are cutting connections. You're burning down bridges with people that it is. When we talk about like when something is not serving you, it is not about the act of trying to use someone, right? It is we're talking about an energy, right? So you're cutting people that are inconsistent. You're cutting people that are like constantly like procrastinating. Again, I am picking up this energy of like people that are not showing up when they say they're supposed to, whether this is at work, whether this is in a relationship, whether this is family. Like people that are not dependable is what I'm picking up. You're building something, or you're creating something. You're trying to build a legacy. You're trying to create something, and there is no space for those energies in your life. So you are cutting them off. You are evicting them out of your life, and there's nothing wrong with that. You need to be aware of like the energies that you are allowing to influence you, right? For those of you that maybe getting together with friends or whatever always meant like drinking, like alcohol has to always be involved, whether it's clubbing or brunching or whatever. Like it is like there's like this space where you're no longer like in alignment with that. Like you want your brunch to be not about like what we're drinking, what we're eating, how we're dressed. I want it to be about the ideas of this, of the things that we want to create. So in a sense, you are, and I know I'm going to get backlash for this word, but some like the way that it's being looked at, or the way that it's coming up, is elevating your frequency to a different, elevating your energy to a different frequency, to be more in alignment with the goals and the things that you're trying to achieve. So therefore, there are spaces, there are connections in your life that you need to walk away from to allow you to connect with people that are in alignment with what it is that you're trying to achieve. All right, so let's go ahead and let's pull out an oracle card for your closing message. Anybody that is trying to guilt trip you or anything like that, like, oh, you think you're this, you think you're that, let those criticism and things like just roll right off your back, because again, you're no longer in those spaces, so those comments and things shouldn't really be affecting you or getting any type of reactions from you. We're all on different paths, and that is perfectly fine. We have the traveler, move in a new direction. You'll be again, and I feel that you are doing this, and unfortunately, there are people that you surrounded yourself with. that celebrated your downfall, that celebrated the things that did not work in your favor, that celebrated the things um, that didn't plan out for you, that celebrated your struggle, because they themselves were in that energy. So they didn't know any better, and whether they were consciously or subconsciously, they were still celebrating like a downfall. They were still celebrating things that didn't come to pass for you. So now you're moving, or you're being asked to move in a direction to connect with people that are going to celebrate your win, but are also going to guide you whenever there is a challenge. That they're not going to celebrate the challenging or the trials that you're going through within a space, but they're going to uplift you. They're going to guide you, right? They're going to have advice. They're going to help you find solutions, help you find resources, or etc., to achieve what it is that you're trying to achieve. Capricorn, Aquarius, Cusp. Um, Watch it during the holiday parties. The some of you are attending like a holiday party or something like that, and you may have one drink too many. Um, and some of you are doing this intentionally to say something to someone, or to use it as an excuse to say something or to word something to someone. Um, I'm not exactly sure what it is, like whether this is like in a this can be at work, or this can be like in a family function. There's something that you want to say to someone, but part of you wants to say it in a space where, to be honest with you, I don't even think that you're that drunk. I think you're saying it in a certain environment or a certain space, so that there's other witnesses to what you said exactly. um I don't see this like coming back to bite you in the ass or something like that. I feel that within in itself, the energy is very weird, because it does come as a, the way that it's coming in, it's like it's coming in to like strip someone's mask off, is coming in to show someone's true color to everyone else. So you may have like a coworker or a family member, somebody that is very deceptive, and the way that they show up is very much like everybody, nobody believes that this person, nobody believes that this person will like break a cup, if that makes any sense. And you're saying certain things, that you're outing someone out, you're outing someone's true colors, and it's being done in a way where, like, the person is not even going to have like a moment to have like a comeback, or a moment to like respond or react. Like they're kind of like shocked that you aired out like their true colors or something of that matter. So let's go ahead and let's see what is a closing message for Capricorn, Aquarius, Cusp. The Stargazer, set your sights higher. Once it is that you say whatever you have to say, you need to move away from this energy. Do not like overthink it or anything like that. Sometimes sometimes certain things have to happen in order for the truth of situations to occur. And for whatever the reason, you are this person, you are the disruptor in this person's life, in a way that outs them out to other people, but also excuse me guys, also allows them, even if momentarily, to self-reflect on their actions. So I don't want you to get stuck in a space where you think that you're being toxic or anything like that. This was a role that you were supposed to play in this person's life, and then you have to keep moving on or moving forward from this energy. I hope that makes sense. Aquarius, Pisces, Cusp. There is an energy of somebody that usually like breadcrumbs you. It doesn't necessarily have to be a romantic partner. This can be in a form of a friendship or something like that, where um there's somebody that maybe you're there for them whenever they need you, but when you need them, they're nowhere in sight. So it's like you hear crickets, right? And spirit is showing you really like that, not necessarily that you have a choice, because you do, but I think you're being reminded during this time that you have a choice. You have a choice of how it is that you engage with these people, with this energy, and you need to stop making excuses for people, right? because you tend to show up for other people regardless of whatever's happening in your life, right? Like if there's a friend that needs you and whatever it is, like you're going to be there for them, you're going to let them vent, you're going to whatever. But then it's like whenever you're the one that's having a hard time, whenever you're the one that needs to vent, they have a life, right? They have all these issues, they have all of these things that they cannot spare 5 minutes for you, they cannot spare returning a text. And you're being asked to really reflect as to why it is that you continue to connect with people like this, that you continue to engage with these type of people, and really be brutally honest with yourself where this is originating, or what it is that this is triggering within you, and allow yourself to honor yourself where you are. Excuse me guys, because I'm trying to figure out what alarm this was and why it was, that was supposed to be Tuesday. Sorry. I set an alarm for Tuesday for something, and for some reason I never hit Tuesday, so it sounded today. Anyways, there is this space where you kind of like have to address it. Why do I get pulled back into this? Why do I fall back into these spaces? What is it that I'm longing for? Um and and sometimes it is just this nature of wanting to show up for people in ways that people like, that you've never had people show up for you. But at the end of the day, again, and I'm going to keep saying this, and I'm going to keep using my hands, and if that annoys you, then I'm not for you. This balance is what's needed, right? And I say like balance in romantic and platonic relationship, work relationships, is balance. Once somebody has more power, more anything than other, everything gets thrown out of whack. And if I'm connecting with somebody, regardless in what type of situation, and this balance is thrown off, or they're trying to throw this balance off in some way, I exit. That's it. Why? Not necessarily because it's not, it has, and it has, and I want you to understand this, not every exit or every walk away is coming from a place of being unhealed. It is coming from a place of knowing who I am, knowing my own worth, and also knowing my boundaries and respecting my boundaries. And usually when people play this game and they try to have one up on you, they're going to say that you're walking away because you don't care. They're going to say that you're walking away because you're not healed. They're going to say a lot of things to try to get a reaction, because that is really all that they want. They're there for the highs of things. They're there for the dumping of like their problems and their things. But when it is required for them to give the same thing that they've been receiving, they don't know how to. And you have to be aware of those energies, love. All right, what is the closing energy for Aquarius, Pisces, Cusp? What is the closing message for Aquarius, Pisces? I know for a lot of you, you guys want to just, you want to be there. You want to be that saving grace for somebody else, but you need to stop. Magic Guardian, unlock the magic within. This magic within you is this choice that again we all have as to what it is that we connect to. Are you staying in certain connections with people because people are manipulating you in some shape or in some form? And if you are in connections where people are manipulating you, are you able to pinpoint how the manipulation is coming through? And if you are, why are you still staying? Why are you still staying? Like, use that god-given magic within yourself and really allow yourself to show up for you. Show up for yourself first, because if you're not showing up for yourself in its entirely, then you're doing a dishonor, excuse me, not just to yourself but also to those that you're showing up for. Whenever I show up for certain people in certain situations, there is a clear understanding and understanding with myself that that person, and again, it's more because of what I do, right? I'm able to see certain frequencies and certain energies. And I know that some people that come towards me, whether it's for a reading or this or that, I know that there's not going to be this exchange of energy, right? Because I am providing a service, right? And even with certain people that are not necessarily friends, but acquaintances or people that I know sometimes have reached out. Um, to ask for an advice or for something, and I willingly give it, knowing that there's not going to be an exchange of anything, right? There's not going to be a balance, right? It was something that I needed to provide in a sense for this person, and I know that I'm going to receive it from someone else, or I'm going to receive it in a different way. And for a lot of people that are in different aspects of their path or of their spiritual journey, it may sound crazy what I'm saying, but there is, like, for you specifically that are watching this, you need to find that balance with these individuals that you are connecting and that you're giving so much of yourself to. Pisces, Aries, Cusp. This week is going to feel like this week is going to be very hectic for you guys. There's a lot of play, there's a lot of things that are just um that are happening like almost all at once. um not everything that is happening, like when I say it this way, like I know some of you are like, oh my god, what is coming, like do I have to brace myself? It's not necessarily like bad things, it's just, it's a lot of things. A lot of things are like um are just happening at once, and there seems to be this space that when things starts to take traction, or things start to change in your life, or things starts to get better in your life, things start to go your way in your life, you have this little voice like back here in the back of your head, like let's fuck some shit up. Let's fuck some shit up. um, and what I mean by that, it starts to come in the space of what what could go wrong, and that little line right there, it can be your your worst enemy when you're trying to when you're actively working and manifesting and changing your reality. And why do I say that? Because that is an energy that needs to be addressed, right? That is an energy that needs to be changed. That is a dialogue. That is an old programming. Um, and it is almost kind of like the same dialogue. Like if, like, let's say if your car breaks, you're like, oh yeah, your car broke, so now what else? Like like, so everything comes in threes, or like when something bad happens, everything bad is going to happen at once. And you need to start actively changing that dialogue, especially when good things are coming from you. You tend to be a little suspicious as to, like, how long is this going to last? How long is this going to last? Oh, what's coming that's wrong? What's coming that's wrong? And you need to change that dialogue. You have to actively change that dialogue now. There are simple ways that you can change them. It is going to work differently for everyone, because again, we are all on different, like, we're all in different places in our journey. um, if you're really having a hard time with ending old programmings, something that I've been doing for years, and I want to say I started doing this back in 2019, when I would say something, um, I always listen, I always look for the cues or the subtle cues in my body as to what is my body telling me when I'm using certain words, right? So the same wording that I use with myself when I'm trying to manifest is not going to be the same wording that you're using when you're trying to manifest, right? Because we're completely two different people. So you have to find the words that are in alignment with you. What words resonate with you? And there are simple ways that you can do this, right? um a simple way, and again, that works for me, it's like I can write a sentence, like whatever, like I'm broke, right? I'll write it, I'm broke, and then I'll look at it and I sit with that intention, I see with how it feels and this and this and that, and then I will literally just cross it off. I'll rewrite it however that's going to be, like, I have the financial resources that I need, or whatever, like whatever, however it wants to come out. Like, I'm not broke, it's not gonna work. I'm not broke, it's not gonna work for me, right? So it has to be like, I have the financial means to cover my bills, or I have the financial resources to, come up with them, whatever it is, right? And I'll write it, and then I look at it, and again, I sit with it, I say it, I see how my body feels about it, and then I burn it. That's it. And it's a reprogramming that works for me instantaneously. Now, there are certain things that are deeper ingrained that need a little bit more work. um so what do I do in those cases? In those cases, I will record myself saying what it is that I'm trying to manifest, and then I would loop it, right? So that I am listening to it for like 3 minutes before bed, 3 minutes when I wake up in the morning. And before I listen, I again, I'll do a couple of breathing exercise, get myself grounded enough to, like, be able to receive. But I'm listening it to it into with my own words, my own voice, and therefore the reprogramming happens a lot faster. Now, there are again certain people that I listen to that have guided meditations that I love to listen to, and I use those. Usually, those tend to work for me better when I need when I've over like exerted myself, right? So like I've overexerted myself, meaning I didn't listen to the cues when my body needed a nap or when my body needed a rest, and it's almost kind of like I need an outsource and out somebody outside of me telling me to like chill and relax type of thing, right? And again, these are different tools, different things that we can all use, but you're being asked to change that dialogue that you have with yourself. And as your closing message, we have the ego, see from a higher perspective. So there is a change here in how you see something. Stop thinking that you are stuck. Stop thinking that nothing is going to get better, or stop thinking that the good that is coming in is not going to last. Okay, let's look over the limited perception that you have right now when it comes to these things in your life. All right, guys, that is all I have. Sending every single one of you love, strength, and blessing. Guys, take care. Love you all. Bye bye.